Hey y'all, so this video is about a topic that I don't really see around YouTube that much, and that is the topic of job interviews. And I figured this would be a good time to do a video like this because I just recently went on a couple interviews myself in the past week, and besides that, it's the middle of April, so this is the time where a lot of employers are hiring people and doing interviews for summer jobs, especially if you're in high school or a college student like me. So if you haven't started your job search for the summer, you might want to start now because, you know, by May and June they're probably all going to be gone. So you need to start looking now if you haven't already. So like I said, the past week I went on 2 job interviews, and I'll just tell y'all about those really quick. I won't name the names specifically, but they're chain retailers that are all over the country, nothing local or anything like that. And the first interview was at a clothing store. Not a store I particularly had shopped at before. I've been to the website a few times and I've been in the store but never bought anything. But anyway, that interview, I just wasn't feeling it. The interviewer was very unprofessional and she seemed very bored and disinterested. She yawned like 3 times during the interview, and it was very quick, and I don't know, it just didn't flow. The second interview I went to a few days later, it was perfect. It lasted a little over an hour, and I actually got to interview with 2 different people, and everything was professional, and it was just perfect, and I actually got that job, so I'm really excited about this video, giving you some tips and, you know, advice for your job interviews. And of course, it's mostly going to be focused on makeup and fashion because that's what this channel is about. And yeah, I guess I'll start with makeup first. So for a job interview, you could be someone who's used to purple smoky eyes or wearing blue or green eyeshadow on a daily basis like I do. But for a job interview, you really want to keep it minimal. Like, you can wear makeup because you want to look put together and look nice, of course. But stay away from the bright, crazy colors, no smoky eyes, no, you know, hot pink lips, no orange lips, you know, no bright colored cheeks. Keep everything very simple and neutral. And I'll show y'all what I wore on both of my interviews. So the makeup I wore to the first interview, of course, is my go-to neutral palette from Wet n Wild. It's the Vanity palette. And I wore these 2 matte colors. I wore this one on my lid and this one in the crease just a little bit. And then for the highlight, I just took this pale shimmery gold color. And I just applied that very, very lightly. Not as heavy as I usually do. And then I did have on a little bit of my Fit Me foundation and powder, black eyeliner, mascara, and I actually didn't have anything on my lips except some chapstick because I forgot to put on my lipstick. But that's all the makeup I wore, so it's very neutral, very simple, except I still look, you know, put together. On the second interview, I wore my Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, except I only wore 1 color, and that was this crease shade. And I just really wanted to keep this makeup simple because I just had a feeling that this interview was going to go better than the first one, so I wanted to make sure everything was right and not too overdone. And instead of using a black eyeliner, I used this Wet n Wild Color Icon Shimmer Pencil in Copper. And it pretty much just blended in with the eyeshadow. They're almost the same color. And then for blush, I didn't wear any blush on the first interview, but on the second one, I wore this also by Wet n Wild. It's called Mellow Wine. It's a very neutral color, not shimmery or glittery at all. And for a lipstick, I wore this Rimmel Moisture Renew lipstick in Dusty Rose. And this is a gorgeous color. It's like brown. It's like a brownie pink color. Definitely, if you're my skin tone, I recommend this lipstick for a nice, basic, neutral, everyday lipstick because it's going to look gorgeous on you, I'm telling you. Okay, so that's it for the makeup. And now on the second interview, I didn't wear any foundation or powder. I just mostly focused on my eyes, a little bit on my cheeks, and I had on a lipstick that was very neutral. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Just keep your makeup neutral and simple. Don't do anything crazy. No bold and bright lip colors or blush colors. You know, just for an interview. And this advice I'm giving goes for any type of job you're interviewing for, whether it's a restaurant, Forever 21, an internship it doesn't matter. You still want to look put together and professional for your interview. Okay, so as far as clothing, I really liked the outfit I wore for my second interview. The first interview, I wasn't really sure what to wear because it was a casual clothing store. But now I definitely know that what I wore was not the most appropriate. I wore a dressy top with, just some simple stud earrings, some skinny jeans, and black flats. I definitely regret not wearing just black slacks instead of jeans because, like I said, no matter the job, you want to look as put together and professional as possible, and jeans just aren't professional enough for an interview, no matter where you're applying for or the job you're applying for. You always want to wear at least some khakis if you don't have some black or brown dress pants. So I definitely do not recommend you wear jeans to any kind of interview, no matter where it's for. So back on the clothes subject really quickly, if you have this book by Lauren Conrad called Style, she has a whole chapter dedicated to workplace outfits for interviews and stuff. But yeah, it's just a little picture. But mostly stuff I already learned years ago as far as what to wear. Basically, I wore just some black slacks and a nice button-down shirt, except I still had a little bit of my personality to it. You don't have to just wear a boring, basic button-down Oxford shirt, some boring black pants, and then just some, shoes. The shoes I wore, they're pretty basic and plain, I guess, but they're still kind of cute at the same time. I call these my boring heels because they're just patent leather, not real leather, but they have a nice heel. It's not too tall. They're not platforms or anything. Nothing super fancy or special. Just really cute and simple, basic. As far as the clothes I wore, this is what I wore to my second interview. And it's just this button-down top. The reason I like this so much is because it's very, it's just very girly. It has the ruffles. It looks better on than on this hanger, of course, but yeah, it has the ruffles, so it's not your plain, standard, boring button-down shirt. And then just some black, tailored pants. The shirt is by Gap, and then the bottoms are in Taylor. But anything like this is appropriate for any kind of interview, once again, no matter where you are interviewing for. And you can wear black flats. I particularly prefer to wear heels just because, especially with these pants, even though they are a petite size, they're still a little long on me. And I don't want them to get dirty or drag the ground, so I like to wear them with a shoe that has a heel on it so the pants can stay clean, and so there's not a lot of fabric bunched up around the bottom that makes them look frumpy and makes me look shorter than I am. So that's why I recommend you wear heels if you can, but if you prefer to wear, flats, just make sure they're a nice pair of black or brown flats that go with the rest of your outfit, of course. And I guess, you can wear a skirt or a dress. Just make sure it's not too short. If you have to think about it twice, don't do it. If you have this dress that you've worn to the club or a party, most likely you don't need to be wearing it to an interview because it's not appropriate. But you can also wear like tights or leggings, not leggings, but tights or stockings underneath it if you don't want your legs to show if you wear a dress or a skirt. But just make sure that it at least comes to your knee. However, I just prefer to wear pants because that's a safe choice and you don't have to worry about, is it too short or, whatever. Also, you can wear like a dressy little top. It doesn't necessarily have to be a button down, but just make sure it's not like too over the top. Make sure you're all covered. Make sure nothing's hanging out. Also, keep your jewelry very simple, very basic. All I wore for jewelry was my little bracelets that I always wear because I never take these off. And I just had on these little studs that I have on today. Just little fake rhinestone studs from Forever 21. But yeah. And then of course you want to make sure your hair looks good and you're clean and all that. I like common sense type of stuff. Okay, so that's it as far as makeup and fashion. Probably just basic common sense stuff, I guess, that you probably already knew. Maybe you didn't, I don't know. And tips as far as actually interviewing, just be confident, ask questions. You know, there's always a point in the interview where they ask you, do you have any questions? Come up with some questions. I really like when you're interested, truly interested in the job, when you ask questions, especially if you actually have questions that you really are legit concerned or curious about. Just ask them so that way you'll know. Especially if you get hired for this job, you want to know as much as possible about, you know, where you're going to be working, what the dress code is, you know, how much makeup you can wear. All this stuff is important. Also, don't be too vague and quick with your answers when the interviewer asks you questions. Answer them thoroughly. You don't have to spend 5 minutes answering a question, but just be thorough and don't just give 1 or 2 worded answers. You know, just be real and just be calm, because you know, at a time like this, a lot of people are interviewing and applying for jobs, so you definitely want to stand out and leave an impression and be as professional as possible, because it's definitely important. Also, something else I recommend for you to do is get to your interview on time. Don't wait till the last minute to show up. Say your interview is at 9 a.m. Don't just waltz in there at 9 a.m. and be like, oh, okay, I'm ready. At least try to get there 10 to 15 minutes ahead of time. And you know, you need to plan. If you're going to be driving to this interview, you need to think about, okay, is it during a busy part of the day where there's going to be a lot of traffic? Is it early in the morning where it's not as much traffic? You need to plan this out so you'll give yourself enough time to get there and, you know, get calm and relaxed so you can focus. And, you know, the whole point of an interview is that you obviously want or at least need a job. So you really need to be professional by showing up on time. I got to both my interviews 10 minutes before the interview, and it just really helped me, you know, get calm and relax a little bit, and, you know, practice some questions in my head a little bit. And it definitely helps, as opposed to, you know, you just running out of your car trying to get to the interview before it starts in 30 seconds, you know. So definitely being on time is something you want to keep in mind. It's okay, so this last little bit I have, it goes kind of along with the application process. If you are applying for a job, not got the interview yet, if you're just applying, if you're in college, you should definitely attach a resume. I've had 2 previous jobs, 2 previous summer jobs, and then I've done volunteer stuff back in high school, and all that looks really good on a resume. So definitely include a resume. Pretty much every place does online applications, and also they always ask if you want to upload a resume. Always upload your resume, and you can Google how to do a resume, and it's very simple, very easy. Doesn't take very long at all, and it just adds a little something extra to your application when employers look and see, oh, this person has, you know, a resume versus these people who don't. That stands out because it shows that you're dedicated and you have prior experience. And also, if you've worked, you know, a couple jobs before, you might get more pay than someone else they hire it's their first job. So all that looks good on a resume. And if you're in college, you definitely should probably have some kind of prior work experience, at least one other job or some volunteer stuff that you've done. And I know my resume, you know, the interviewers seem to be really impressed with all my previous jobs and the things I've done and volunteer work. So you definitely want to keep all those things in mind. That stands out as well. Like I said, you want to stand out and impress them, because most likely you're up against a lot of other people applying for your same job. So you need to do what you can do to leave an impression. So I guess that's basically it. Hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you want to see me do more types of videos like this, let me know. Last summer I did a tips and advice video for college freshmen, and I think that went over pretty well. A few people told me they really, you know, found that helpful, and that was my whole goal. And so I hope you find this video helpful too, especially if you maybe have never applied for a job before, never been to an interview before, and you have no clue what to do. Because it can be a very frightening and scary, nerve-wracking process if you've never experienced it before. So if you have any questions or maybe any tips for me that I can use in the future as far as interviews or whatever, then you can just let me know, and I'll be glad to get back with you on that. And I'll be talking to y'all later. Bye.